Great to have your company on the New South Wales Formula V YouTube channel as we bring you race 2 of round 5, the penultimate round from Wakefield Park in Goulburn. Ray is alongside me as per usual.
And this race meeting sponsored by Lee Porter of Porter Motorsport, one of the world's greatest Formula V drivers.
Indeed they are. They're off, they're racing. No mucking around here at the start of race 2. Ryan Reynolds after winning race 1. A terrific start from him. Watch James Horn and Dylan Thomas follow him through the first corner. Good start from Darren Williams as well. But it is the man chasing Dylan Thomas in the championship fight that leads them up the hill for the first time. And now we're on board with Thomas. A replay of the start. You can see that Reynolds got the straight line run. Jimmy Horn tucking in behind, and then Thomas left to just tuck in behind Horn and settle in for the journey here at Wakefield Park.
And the track looks really cold. The weather has been freezing this weekend down there at Wakefield Park, which is a country circuit in the Highlands just not far from Sydney. But the cold circuit means that they can't really push too hard, especially on this first lap. And another brilliant start from Ryan Reynolds. Ryan probably hasn't lost a start or barely lost a start in all of his years of competition.
No, he's been terrific off the start so far, right throughout his Formula V career as Ryan Reynolds. Look at Dylan Thomas giving Jimmy Horn the hurry up. We're on board with the championship leader as they go through turn 9 for the first time. I like your point about Wakefield Park and cold because, well, it is August. It's still winter here. And now Thomas down there on the inside, making the most of the opportunity to get track position and tuck in behind Ryan Reynolds. He leads the battle to get the man that's leading the race at the moment, and he's got a good pack of cars behind him, including Simon Pace. Aaron Pace is at the back of that battle. Daniel Stein's in there as well, so too Craig Spark and Darren Williams.
And we had Morgan Fremantle driving the Gary Hook Sky Blue Chaser there we saw. We also got Matthew Pearce back in the famous 1200cc Lepton. He's obviously trying to get some points up in the 1200 championship in that great car.
Indeed he is. Now Dylan Thomas looking up there on the inside of Ryan Reynolds. Couldn't quite get the job done. They make their way through turn 8 once more. Oh boy, we are on for young and old here. This second race of the penultimate round of the season yesterday, as you watch the cars make their way around onto the main straight. It was Ryan Reynolds winning race 1 from Jimmy Horn, probably Jimmy's best result of the season. Then Dylan Thomas, Darren Williams and Simon Pace, the top 5 in what was a cracking battle between those top 3. They left the pack in the wake.
And here we go. That's a good example of Formula V slipstreaming. All cars following one another. Dylan trying to go around the outside. Dylan, he couldn't go to the right-hand side. Ryan had that line covered. Now he tried the outside, but he's lost the position. Looks like James, and a touch of wheels. And there goes James Horn in the sky blue Jason, and there goes Darren Williams in the red, white and yellow Sabre. And Dylan from second place and probably had the lead for a second, back to 4th place.
That touch of wheels, you saw Dylan clip the dirt as a result of that. That unsettled him. He slowed down and therefore obviously all the work ahead of him for the remainder of this race. It is a 10-lap race here at Wakefield Park, a little bit shorter than normal for our second race of the weekend. So it is a short, sharp sprint. And that is going to be a lot of work for Dylan Thomas to try and make up after a small setback in the early stages. Back to the main straight. Ryan Reynolds leads from Jimmy Horn at the moment. Williams sitting there in 3rd spot. This is, of course, round 5 of the championship. Across the line they go on a cool Sunday morning in Goulburn, as they all are in winter.
And here's James Horn having a go at Ryan Reynolds. Ryan sticks to the right-hand side and gives nobody an opportunity to take the lead. And yet James could not succeed. Ryan's got that line covered.
Jimmy Horn is on song this weekend. There's no doubt about that. He's in fine form. And he'll be hoping that he can convert this fine form into a race win. Tell you someone else that didn't have the best of runs yesterday. Poor old Michael Kinsella is way down in 9th spot. That's very unlike Michael.
It is, but we've got this pack of the top 9 cars. They're only about 2 to 3 seconds behind Ryan. Ryan normally would be pulling away a great deal by now, but he's got James Horn and Darren. Simon Pace is in that pack. Craig Spark and Michael Kinsella at the back of the 9th. Here we've got Morgan Fremantle with John McDonald. Just had a bit of a look down the inside. Simon Duffy has finally got that great car going. Lee Porter has got a new colour scheme, the red Jacer that we just saw go through. And here are the first of the 1200s. That's Bernie Cannon. And there's he's actually ahead of Matthew Pearce, which is very unusual. Bernie's having a good day.
He certainly is. Speaking of good days, James Horn, Darren Williams, both having good days. Look at them tuck into the inside of the circuit. They're basically hugging the white line on the inside of the track. Ryan Reynolds leads them across the line. Jimmy Horn right there on his tail at the moment. Then you go back to Williams and Thomas. Thomas still trying to make back the ground he lost earlier. Horn up on the inside. Oh, no, Williams has gone round.
He was hit.
There's all sorts of carnage at turn one.
It looked like he was hit in the back. Hopefully we'll get a bit of a look here now.
Oh,
no.
Yep.
No, he lost it by himself. Darren, what were you doing?
Lost it by himself, but then in amongst all that chaos, it was poor old Dylan Thomas who gains a position in all of that, but loses ground to the top two. It's now a battle between Horn and Reynolds, and at the same time, Thomas was very lucky not to do damage to his car there because that was a big hit.
Oh, it's a lot of luck involved there, yeah, but it's affected this race. James Horn still has the lead in the Jacer with Ryan Reynolds, just on his tail, but now a big gap back to third place. Craig Sparks taken over third place by the look of it, and fortunately for Dylan, he's still going. We'll try and find out whether Darren Williams got back onto the track. Obviously, his nose cone flying through the air. Here's another example of slipstreaming. And has Ryan Reynolds got the pace in his orange Jacer? No, James Horn has done a Ryan Reynolds on Ryan Reynolds.
Yeah, exactly right. And the other point that we should have made, in amongst all that chaos, Reynolds gave Horn very little room there on the inside at one. And somehow he found his way up on the inside for the run into two. I don't know how, because 9 times out of 10, Reynolds will defend all the way along the main straight and then outbrake his competition into turn one. So that was very good driving, very aggressive driving, but it needs to be, from James Horn.
Well, James, obviously, he can push when he needs to, and he can defend when he needs to. He hasn't had too many opportunities this year. Bit of unreliability with the Jacer, but the Jacer has been very fast, and it's been getting faster this year as well. And no doubt they'll get on top of whatever development things that they have going, and I think you'll probably see that Jacer going extremely fast at the end of the year.
Dylan Thomas will be ruining that moment with Darren Williams from earlier as we watch the rest of the field come through here. I'll talk about Thomas in a moment. But our 1200s are about to come through here, Ray.
Yeah, Simon Duffy, John McDonald and Morgan Fremantle's lost a couple of spots. Lee Porter, that's Wayne Hamilton, loses it at what we call the fish hook, the downhill, tight left-hand corner. There's Wayne, yellow flag out, and he covers the situation, allowing Matthew Pearce and Bernie Cannon to go through, and Ray Cripps in third place in the white Elfin that he had.
Good thing he went left onto the grass there instead of right into the racing line. Look at this Horn holding off Ryan Reynolds. Reynolds will look to the outside. This is what I wanted to say about Dylan Thomas earlier. The fact that he went to the outside was probably, not the smartest move there on lap 2 when you think about it, because it was so early in the race. You can see now as temperature gets into the tyres, the track starts to warm up. We are early on Sunday morning here, that it may, as we see Darren Williams continuing on, so it's good to see that he's making ground back, that the outside move, which Daniel Stein was so effective with here in round 1, may become an option again. But early on, it just didn't seem like the right time for Dylan to go on the outside. He went up there perfectly, but just wasn't able to execute it because of that initial contact with Reynolds, and then, of course, lost the 2 positions. If he didn't lose those 2 positions, he wouldn't have got caught up in the chaos with Darren Williams. So it's all the game of if, buts and maybes at the moment here at Wakefield Park. By gee, Jimmy Horn's doing a great job, though. He leads Ryan Reynolds down the main straight. There in third spot is the 2014 champion, Michael Kinsella, having a good run from 9th to 4th in this race. Then we go back to Craig Spark, and then also Aaron Pace up in 6th spot. Yeah. Daniel Stein also got caught up in the drama with Darren Williams. He's 7th.
He did. And actually, Simon Pace...
Brave move up on the outside.
Simon Pace must have been caught up in that incident as well, because he's the one whose nose cone went flying through the air. And there's Matt Pearce in the Lepton just getting past Bernie Cannon. Matt obviously getting up to speed in this race at last, so... But back to the leaders, and Ryan Reynolds goes down the inside of the fish hook and takes the lead. James Horn just left that door open by 1 inch, and 1 inch is all Ryan Reynolds needed to take the lead.
Sometimes Ryan only needs half an inch. Let's be perfectly honest. He will find a way
All
through
right.
if there's a way. Let's be perfectly honest.
12
Back onto the main straight.
12.5 millimetres in. Okay. All right. So we've got
Look at this.
the leaders coming through. Ryan Reynolds doing a Ryan Reynolds. James Horn probably won't be able to get round the outside.
This time.
Dylan Thomas back in third. Michael Kinsella up to fourth. Craig Spark going through, and Aaron Pace the next position. Here we go, back to the leaders round this corner. 1, 2, 3, fourth place, fifth, sixth, seventh place. That's Daniel Stein in seventh.
The orange rocket of Ryan Reynolds is about to become the widest car in New South Wales Formula V. Now that he's got back to the front, there's no way he'll let Jimmy Horn back through. Through they come in the infield section of the circuit now. You can see our 1200s just making their way
That
through
was
the bottom of
Stephen
the shot
Cannon.
there.
Stephen Cannon's next in line to be passed by the faster cars, but Stephen doing a great job to hold his position with the 1200 class.
Traffic starting to play its part. Good move there from Daniel Stein on the inside of Aaron Pace. You just caught that on our camera here at the fish hook. And the rest of the field making their way through as well. Good times.
There's a great race going on for 10th, 9th and 8th place between Johnny McDonald and Morgan Fremantle as well. And they're racing, and I just saw wheels locking up before with John McDonald as they entered the end of the straight. So they're racing really hard.
That surprised me when you said that it was Simon Pace who had the damage there, because given the initial contact came from Dylan Thomas, you would have expected it to be the CXC Global Racer without some body work, but it wasn't to be, and lucky for him. And, of course, Simon Pace will have a little bit of work to do going into the next race here. Last lap indicated this time by Ryan Reynolds leads.
And here's an opportunity for James Horn.
Playing its part. Horn looking up on the outside, nowhere near close enough when we got to turn one. And lap traffic doing the smart thing there, getting the inside, but Ryan Reynolds doing the even smarter thing, Ryan, using the slipstream to his effect.
That's true. We should say here that Dylan Thomas, who's in third place in this race, has a handy lead in the New South Wales State Championship point score. Ooh. However, Ryan Reynolds will probably need to finish first in every race and maybe 1 second out of the remaining, this is, including this race, 5 races to go this year to be able to beat Dylan by 1 point. But anything can happen in motor racing, and especially so in Formula V. So let's wait until the last race of the last round.
Yeah, exactly right. Last turn, checkered flag about to come out. Ryan Reynolds, he's done it again. Won it again. He's been magnificent in Formula V this year. And he's held off James Horn, who gave him a fight right to the very death. Brilliant performance from Ryan Reynolds. Dylan Thomas in for third, and then Michael Kinsella in for fourth. Then Aaron Pace. Daniel Stein will be the next one through, mate. Actually, no, it might be Simon Pace. We'll find out our results in just a moment.
Here we go.
Let's confirm those results for you. Race winner, again, Ryan Reynolds. What a performance from him so far this season. James Horn, Dylan Thomas in for third. Then, of course, Michael Kinsella. Aaron and Simon Pace ahead of Daniel Stein and Craig Spark, making up the top 8. The 1200s won by Matty Pearce. You shouldn't be surprised with that one, ahead of Bernie Cannon, Raymond Cripps, and also Stephen Cannon and Jeff Bassingthwaite. So plenty of great Formula V action still to come. Race 3 a little bit later on. Thanks for your company for race 2.